this tutorial, you will learn how to conduct an independent samples t-test and then create a bar chart of means for your data. The first thing we need to do is select our columns of interest. So here we have gender and happy. And then we can copy these into a new sheet and paste them. Now we need to sort our data by gender. So we can select the sheet, click on data, and then sort, and sort by gender. Click OK. The next thing we want to do is organize our data. So we'll create a column for females and for males, and then we will copy the female data into the female column and the male data into the male column. You can see here we have some missing data in our groups, but that's okay. Excel will just ignore this. To do the independent samples t-test, we need to use the data analysis tool pack. So under the data tab, we'll go to data analysis. And then from the options, we'll select t-test to sample, assuming unequal variances. The reason we select this option is so that we don't have to check the equal variances assumption. So we will just always run this test with the unequal variances. Then we can click OK. For variable 1 range, we'll select female. For variable 2 range, we'll select the male column. And because I'm including in these columns the headers female and male, I need to check the labels box. The hypothesized mean difference here is 0. And then I'm going to output my data into this same sheet. So I'll click in the box and then just select where I want the output to appear. And then click OK. When you run an independent samples t-test in Excel, it will provide you with both the one and two-tailed results for your test here. So here we have the p-value for a one-tailed test and the critical value for the one-tailed test, as well as the p-value and critical value for a two-tailed test. It will also provide us with RT statistics and the sample size for each group, as well as the group means and variance. In order to create a bar chart of means, we need to calculate a bit of additional information. To do the error bars for this, we're going to need to use the standard error of each group. The first step for that is we need to calculate the standard deviation for each group. We will create an extra row down here called standard deviation. And then we will also have one for the standard error. The standard deviation is the square root of the variance, so we'll type equals square root and then select the column with the variance. And then the standard error is equal to the standard deviation divided by the square root of the sample size, so that's the observations, and we'll select that cell, close our parentheses, and hit enter. So this is the data for our females. We can highlight both of those and then wait until we see the plus sign and drag it next to it. This will copy the formula for the males. So now we have the male standard deviation and the male standard error. Now we're ready to create our bar charts. We will select our means and our headers here and then go to Insert, and under these recommended charts we'll click on the columns and select the first 2D column option. I'm going to drag my chart off to the side here. Now we need to add titles to our chart. First we will add axis titles. Click on the chart, and then that will bring up the Add Chart Element menu under Chart Tools. We'll click on that, and then we will add axis titles. We want to add a horizontal axis title as well as a vertical axis title. Then we can click in these boxes to change them. This is gender, and our y-axis is happiness. We can title our chart Gender Differences in Happiness. The last thing we want to do is to add error bars to our chart. So we will click on the bars and again go to Add Chart Element, Error Bars, And we don't want to use one of the pre-designed error bars for our chart because these will be based on the combined data. We want to have the error for each of our groups. So we'll go to More Error Bar Options. Make sure that we have this both for the direction and cap for the end style. And then scroll down to the bottom, and under Error Amount, we want to do Custom. Then click on Specify Value, and here's where we will use the standard errors that we just calculated. So under Positive Error Value, we'll highlight both of our standard errors. And then under Negative Error Value, we will again highlight both of our standard errors for both males and females. And then click OK. Looking at our bar chart, we can see that our error bars do not overlap, which indicates there are group differences. That was also confirmed by the results of our t-test.